Hi everyone, welcome back to Joanne Tech Lover. I'm Joanne, and today I'll be doing an overview on an AMD FreeSync monitor, how it performs, and how it compares to a G-Sync monitor. We'll be using AMD's Windmill demo as well as Nvidia's Pendulum demo, and I'm going to show you the contents of the monitors with FreeSync and G-Sync on and off. So let's get started! Before I go ahead and show you what monitors and systems we'll be using to test FreeSync and G-Sync, I do want to go over FPS and refresh rate in case some of you didn't know the differences between the two. So FPS stands for frames per second, and it's how fast your graphics card can output individual frames per second. And refresh rate is how many times per second your screen can refresh itself. So let's say you have a 60 Hz monitor, and that means it can redraw the entire screen 60 consecutive times in a single second. If at any time your frame rates do not match your refresh rates, you will experience something ugly called screen tearing, and it is a horizontal line that's just across the screen. So think about it this way. It's as if you took a photograph, you ripped it in half, and then you try to align it, but then it was just off. Yeah. And now let's go over response time. It's how quickly your display will change its pixels from black to white or gray to gray. And to transition from black to white takes longer than it does to transition from gray to gray. And also, the response time correlates with how much ghosting your display will have. And if you have the overdrive feature on your monitor, then you'll be able to improve your response time to as low as 1 millisecond, which is pretty awesome. And that will help minimize ghosting. The past solution for tearing was VSync, which stands for vertical synchronization, and VSync synchronizes output of the GPU to the monitor by delaying frames to match the rate of the display, and VSync repeats the frame until the replacement is ready. And when frames are delayed for the monitor, FPS is reduced and stuttering occurs, which is that blocky movement or uneven movement that you'll see during gameplay. Alright, let's get to it. So what is AMD FreeSync? It allows your monitor to talk to your graphics card. So in simple terms, your monitor will refresh at the same rate as when your graphics card outputs a frame. So this should help reduce or eliminate screen tearing, as well as help with screen stuttering. And this is happening constantly in real time. For example, if your graphics card is outputting 70 FPS, your monitor will match that at 70 Hz. And if it goes to 40 FPS, your monitor will also match that at 40 Hz. So that is pretty cool. You will need a FreeSync-enabled AMD graphics card and a FreeSync-enabled monitor, then download the free FreeSync driver. And the supported cards are the R7-260X, R7-260, R9-285, R9-290, R9-290X, and the R9-295X2. With AMD FreeSync, you can go ahead and turn VSync on or off, which is great because G-Sync, you cannot turn the VSync off. And more on that in just a little bit. But first, with AMD FreeSync on and your VSync off, let's take a 144 Hz monitor, for example, and your graphics card is outputting 150 frames per second. Your FreeSync will not cap your max frame rate at 144 frames per second. And of course, with G-Sync, VSync is always on. So same example, 144 Hz monitor and graphics card outputting 150 FPS. What happens is that the G-Sync will cap the max frame rate at the max refresh rate. And now for G-Sync, just like FreeSync, you'll need a compatible G-Sync monitor and a compatible G-Sync graphics card. So the supported cards are GTX Titan X, GTX 980, 970, 960, Titan Z, Titan Black 780 Ti, 780, 770, and the list goes on and on and on. The graphics card we're using to test the AMD FreeSync monitor is the XFX Radeon R9 285, and we're using the Nixeus NX-VUE24 24-inch 1920 by 1080 display at 144 Hz, and this is a production sample, FYI. And you get multiple inputs with this monitor: dual DVI, VGA, HDMI, DisplayPort 1.2a ports. AMD tested the adaptive sync monitor and certified it to work with FreeSync. And here is an Acer monitor to test G-Sync, and this is model XB240H. And you don't get multiple inputs with this, only DisplayPort. And we're using the Nvidia GTX 670 graphics card to test the G-Sync on this monitor. You don't get multiple ports on this monitor, only DisplayPort 1.2. And one thing to note is that the G-Sync DisplayPort does not support audio over cable, but FreeSync does. FreeSync and G-Sync monitors have to use DisplayPort, but FreeSync monitors allow for legacy connections like HDMI, VGA, and DVI. But the average G-Sync monitor does not have those ports. The video may not show it clearly, but in person, I see overdrive reducing ghosting for FreeSync, and that is awesome. One thing to note is when you film a monitor with a video camera, what you see on the monitor will not look as accurate as when you see the monitor in person. That wraps it up for this look at the AMD FreeSync and Nvidia G-Sync monitors comparison. So hopefully you found it informative, and if you like what you saw and you want to see more like it, be sure to hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons, as well as follow me on social media, Joanne Tech Lover Facebook fan page, Joanne Tech Lover again on Twitter, and Joanne Tech Lover once more on Instagram. Also, please don't forget to hit the donate button so I can help expand this channel and feed this techie. I have a website up called Joanne Tech Lover, which I really need to give some more attention, so check that out. Be sure to check out my 2 other YouTube channels, JTL LIFESTYLE, where I talk about random, everyday gadgets, as well as JTL Cuteness Overload, where you get an injection of cuteness into your everyday. And one last thing is storeenvy.com, where you can go ahead and check out my 8.5 by 11-inch autograph prints that you can buy. I guess all that's left to say is bye-bye!